Mandy and I welcome you back to The Chosen's Blended Harmony of the Gospel. We are on day 23, part 1. Jesus heals a crippled woman. We are starting in Luke 13, verse 10. Jesus heals a crippled woman. As he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath, a woman was there who had been disabled by a spirit for over 18 years. That is a long time. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called out to her, "Woman, you are free of your disability." Then he laid his hands on her, and instantly she was restored and began to glorify God. But the leader of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, again, responded by telling the crowd, "There are 6 days when work should be done. Therefore, come on those days and be healed, and not on the Sabbath day." But the Lord answered him and said, "Hypocrites! Doesn't each one of you untie his ox or donkey from the feeding trough on the Sabbath and lead it to water? Satan has bound this woman, a daughter of Abraham, for 18 years. Shouldn't she be untied from this bondage on the Sabbath day?" When he had said these things, all his adversaries were humiliated, but the whole crowd was rejoicing over all the glorious things he was doing. He said, therefore, "What is the kingdom of God like, and what can I compare it to? It's like a mustard seed that a man took and sowed in his garden. It grew and became a tree, and the birds of the sky nested in its branches." Again he said, "What can I compare the kingdom of God to? It's like leaven that a woman took and mixed into 50 pounds of flour until it was all leavened." A man born blind. As he was passing by, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," Jesus answered. "This came about so that God's work might be displayed in him. We must do the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." After he said these things, he spit on the ground, made some mud from the saliva, and spread the mud on his eyes. "Go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent. So he left, washed, and came back seeing. This is a really amazing story about this woman. Let's go back and read a little bit. So here she was, and it says she's been disabled by a spirit for over 18 years. So not just a physical ailment, but a spiritual condition, right? And she was bent over, she couldn't straighten up, and when Jesus saw her, he called out, "Woman, you are free of your disability." Then he laid his hands on her, and instantly she was restored and began to glorify God. So when he saw her, he said, "Woman, you are healed from your disability." She didn't even have to ask. He just saw her and he said, "You are healed." And instantly she was healed. And I just love that he can see us and heal us. But of course, then there's trouble always, right? The synagogue leader, indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, responded to the crowd, "There are 6 days when work should be done. Therefore, come on those days and be healed, not on the Sabbath day." Unbelievable, right? I mean, they should be so excited this woman was healed. Let's rejoice. Let's be happy about that. But these Pharisees, they're back there with their arms crossed, and they're like, no, no, no. You can't heal on the Sabbath. I mean, just unbelievable to me that they just can't rejoice in the fact that God did a miracle right in front of them. So Jesus answered and said, "Hypocrites, doesn't each one of you untie an ox or donkey from the feeding trough on the Sabbath to lead it to water? Satan has bound this woman, a daughter of Abraham, for 18 years. Shouldn't she be untied from this bondage on the Sabbath?" So again, they're splitting hairs with all the laws, right? They're saying you can't do any work, but you could untie the ox and take it over here because it needs to eat, but you couldn't untie it and then go do work. That was like two different things. But what Jesus is saying, that she has been spiritually bound, so shouldn't she be untied because he's here now, that he can do this? Shouldn't matter if it's the Sabbath or not. She should be untied from that spiritual bondage and be free. And he did it, and they were not happy about that. So when he said these things, all his adversaries were humiliated, but the whole crowd was rejoicing over the glorious things he was doing. So the people got it. They were rejoicing. They were like, it doesn't matter if it's a Sabbath or not. We are going to rejoice with this woman that she has been set free. And so then he said, therefore, "What is the kingdom of God like, and what I can compare it to? It's a mustard seed that a man took and sowed in his garden. It grew and became a tree, and the birds of the sky nested in it." And then again he said, What can I compare the kingdom of God to? It's like leaven that a woman took and mixed into 50 pounds of flour until all of it was leavened. So a mustard seed is the tiniest of seeds. And yet Jesus is saying, if you have faith that small, it will grow into a big tree, big enough that the birds of the air can come and make their nests into it. People can have shade from it. People can get mustard from it, right? And make, delicious food flavorings with that. So the tiniest seed can do many, many things if you have your faith in God. It's not so much our faith that's very small, but what our faith is in. Our faith is in God. So our little bitty tiny faith, small as a mustard seed, if it's in a mighty God, is going to just bloom and help a lot of people. I love that analogy. And that's true too. When you mix leaven in, it's a very small amount, but if you mix it in all the dough, it goes all through. And what does it help the dough do? Rise. It kind of gives life to the dough, right? Same thing with God. He just puts faith in our heart, and even though it's small, it's from Him, and it can just mix into our lives and goes out, and we mix with all the people around us and help and bless them. So very small things like faith in the mighty hands of God can turn into huge blessings for others. So don't ever forget that. So I hope today that you realize that God really doesn't care so much if something is on the Sabbath, like He was talking about. Let's not worry about all these nitpicky little laws, a lot of them that they had made up. What He wants is our hearts. What He wants is us to be giving grace and mercy out to everyone around us and to be serving people. So I hope you can serve someone today by maybe bringing them some food or praying for their healing. That's a way to serve people too. And also remember that your faith, small as it is as a mustard seed, in God's hand can do mighty things. So have a great day, having great faith in God, and we will see you back here tomorrow for more Harmony of the Gospels. You can get your own copy of a blended Harmony of the Gospels by The Chosen simply by going to thechosengifts.com. There you can find all kinds of wonderful merchandise to help build your faith this year. Be sure to check out their devotionals and their Bible studies. Have a blessed day.